Does the person you are with encourage you to read? You have to ask, what does he bring for me? Roses or books? If someone has a stake in making you better, that person will push you towards books. Books are what we all need.
Hello. Namaste, sir. I'm Lokesh, second year UG student. So my question is, once I was having a conversation with one of my friend about veganism, and he asked me if God has created us, why would he create us in such a way that one species have to kill another species in order to survive? For example, lions have to kill deers and snakes have to kill rats. So how do I answer this question to someone who believes God has created us or God has shaped the course of evolution?
Was this fellow a BTech student?
Yes.
When you do your courses, do you operate in ifs and therefores? Or you want to test and question and probe? Or you base your entire statement on a huge hypothesis? If God has created us, can there be a bigger hypothesis? Because if he has created you, then he has created whosoever he is, then he has created the entire universe, and there is nothing bigger than the universe. So this is the biggest hypothesis you can have. Do you want to proceed on such a huge hypothesis?
I wouldn't proceed, but considering there are so many people who believe these hypotheses, so how do we answer this question to them?
You cannot answer this without putting aside God himself. Because that's the ultimate argument. You see, God has given us this great book, and this great book says that certain animals exist to be butchered and slaughtered and consumed. And after that, there is no argument left.
Yeah.
So, first of all, this hypothesis has to be questioned. Hypothesis. You see, behind us is not a god. Behind us is a chimpanzee. And that's the entire problem. People do not understand that we are not coming from a glorious God. We are coming from a scary jungle. And before that, some kind of a muddy puddle. Not even the blue ocean. Life didn't really start in the ocean. Life started in some kind of a mud house, which had been concentrated by the beating down of sun rays. So there was a lot of heat and concentration of chemicals and a lot of mud. And all that combined to give us long chains of amino acids. And that then changes into what you call as the elementary life. Where is God in all this? So we are coming from there. We are coming from there, and you have to be very uneducated to say, no, one fine day, one particular fellow sitting somewhere in the skies had some kind of a brainwave and he said, I have to make something as stupid as human beings. It's established where we are coming from. There is theoretical proof. There is archaeological proof. We know where we are coming from. No God made this human being. And this human being is still evolving. Even today, you do not look the same way you did 50,000 years back. And if you manage to somehow luckily survive for another 10,000 years, even physically you will not look the way you do today. Tell me, who will make that man 10,000 years from today? It's evolution. It's evolution. We are coming from the jungle. Now, we are coming from the jungle. We are not still in the jungle. All other animate beings are still in the jungle, except the ones we pulled out of the jungle, like the poor dog or the household cat. We have come out of the jungle. So we are now free from the obligation to behave in the ways of the jungle. There has to be a difference between a human being and an animal. Otherwise, why do you live in cities? Why do you go after knowledge? Why do you operate as per certain codes? So what does the animal live by? The animal lives by its very physical nature. Right? And the physical nature does not need to be taught to the animal. You do not teach a monkey to climb up the tree and pluck the guava. And the monkey will not go after buffaloes, come what may. So all those animals live in the jungle and follow the law of the jungle. And that's why they are called animals, if you keep following the law of the jungle. And the law of the jungle says, whatever you do has to be done in your self-interest, and the only good is your own survival and furtherance. In classical language, we call that as Prakriti. All that Prakriti wants from a living being is the security of the body and the continuation of the genes. You could say the continuation of the species. But all that applies to animals. As a human being, you are not merely subjected to the laws of nature. You understand the laws of nature and you say, well, the laws of nature are secondary to my need to elevate my consciousness. And that's the reason why I am quitting the jungle and coming out, so that I can have a more favorable environment in which to expand and elevate my consciousness. That's the entire point of emerging from the jungle. The jungle is not a conducive place if you want to meditate or learn or understand or experiment. That's why you emerged from jungle. You said, fine, we'll take to farming, so that all the time we don't have to think about food. You can grow food and store it, so you will have spare time, luxury time. And what do you do in that time? You involve yourself in higher pursuits. So, just because certain things happen in the jungle, they don't have to be followed by human beings, and you're already doing that. No creature in the jungle was ever found wearing the t-shirt that you do. Even the fellow you are arguing with was surely wearing something at least. Ask him if he has seen any animal wearing any of those cloth items that he was carrying on his body. The argument usually is, if animals can do that, why can't we? Because you are not an animal. That's the answer. If animals can kill animals for food, why can't human beings kill animals for food? Because you are not an animal. And if you do the same thing as animals do, then you are just an animal. And if you are just an animal, then I'll behave with you the way animals deserve to be behaved with. You do not speak to animals, do you? You do not use words with them. If you find them doing rubbish, you spank them. Yes, of course. A dog comes to, chase and eat your pet rabbit. You're not going to cuddle the dog. Similarly, if a human being comes to chase and slaughter your pet rabbit, he deserves the same treatment because he's behaving like a dog. It is not your physical constitution that decides your species. It is the height of your consciousness that decides the species you really belong to. To be called a human being, you have to display some height or depth of consciousness. Otherwise, you are just a chimpanzee walking around in human clothing and needlessly, worthlessly benefiting from all the progress of human civilization. Are you getting it? Please understand, all the things that are justified in the name of being natural, they don't really apply to human beings. The jungle would be fast asleep at this moment. It's going to strike midnight in next 2 minutes. Who is awake in the jungle? Nobody. Maybe the owls or the predators. But you are awake. Why don't you go to sleep? Because you are a human being. Because to you, this discussion is more important than your sleep. To no animal is knowledge ever going to be more important than sleep. But you have other priorities. Your priorities can contradict nature, and they must contradict nature. One of the highest scriptures in Advaita Vedanta says, Tvam Prakriteh Pare. You are beyond Prakriti. So do not behave as per the laws of Prakriti. Which animal is trying to blast itself away to Mars or Moon? Tell me.
No one.
Which animal uses Twitter? And if you are so hell-bent on emulating the examples of animals, then you should not even marry. Animals get into couples, or is it groups? There is no definite need to just let it be one-on-one. Why call somebody as your wife or husband? Animals don't do that. Animals don't even brush their teeth, or do they? So throw that toothbrush away if you want to quote animals again and again. Animals don't even use that toilet paper. And animals don't flush. But you want to again and again quote animals to justify your lust for taste and many other things. I want to consume flesh, so I'll say, if the lion can kill the deer, why can't I eat the flesh of the deer? Because the lion does not wear an underwear. If you want to be held equivalent to a lion, first of all, tear that thing away. You see, you would be realizing how all kinds of distortions in thought and behavior come from inner ignorance. Because we do not understand who we are and where we are coming from. What is the body and what is consciousness? Therefore, we accept and propagate very stupid beliefs and live all our life by those beliefs. And all that just leads to more and more sorrow. Compassion is one word that animals can never exhibit. You talked of veganism. Veganism is founded on compassion. No animal can ever be compassionate. Ever. And if you think animals can be compassionate, then you do not understand the meaning of the word compassion. Animals only have things that nature has given them. Prakriti has given them. And there is no compassion in Prakriti. Compassion is when you transcend Prakriti. No animal transcends Prakriti. No animal can even love. Though we delight in saying that, my dog loves me so much. No, the animal can be habituated to you. The animal can be attached to you. But love is something very exclusive to a heightened consciousness. Animals do not have that consciousness. Animals cannot love. And if you want to put yourself in the same bracket as animals, then you are depriving yourself of joy, of love, of compassion, of understanding, realization. All these words pertain only to human beings. Why do you want to condemn yourself to a loveless life? Animals do not have love. I understand many people will simply be very provoked at this statement, and they'll say, no, animals do love. If you go to the jungle, you find birds loving each other, and the cow has so much love for the calf. No, all that is just biological conditioning. That is not called love. Love is when you transcend the conditioning. Even a human mother loving her baby is not love. Love is a different element altogether. Yeah.
Thank you.
We have the next question from Rakesh.